Welcome to Small Town Big Business, a podcast about doing big business in small town USA. I'm your host, Allison Hassler.
And I'm Russell Williams, and we're coming to you from the Citadel building in downtown Marion, Illinois, here on Tower Square Plaza. It's home of Ethos. Ethos is our small business incubator and co-working, co-sharing workspaces, and we're happy that you can join us.
Here on Small Town Big Business, we interview successful business owners on how and why they thrive in small towns.
And our guest today is Jeff Mayer of Toyota of Marion. Welcome, Jeff. Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
So glad you're here today.
Absolutely.
We're going to be talking about your business as an entrepreneur, but also some of the cool downtown things that you're involved in too. We're excited about that.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background. You're from Marion, Illinois.
Lifelong resident.
Okay.
Born and raised, went to school right down here at Washington. Grew up on South Market Street a lot of my childhood, so know the square area very well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you get involved in the dealership?
You know, actually, I guess I would be considered, I would be a third generation in the automotive business.
Okay.
I never worked for my grandfather or was in business with him. I worked for my father, but again, I was never a co-owner with him, but I didn't work for him. So I've been around it my entire life. Yeah, I graduated on a Saturday from SIU and started working selling on a Monday.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wow.
been around it my whole life. Yeah.
Did you always expect to be in the car industry? Did you want to do that as you were going through middle school, high school, being in the industry or being a family in the industry?
Exactly. Definitely it was always on my mind of, I think I might want to try this, but I didn't really know when I went to college. I mean, I did get my degree in business at SIU. I was over there for 4 years and was always interested in business. So I guess I didn't really know that it would end up in the automotive industry. But of course, if your grandfather was in that and your father, you probably got that in the back of your mind that, you might try that someday.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess I don't think it was a clear path for sure, but yeah, definitely on my mind.
Yeah.
Sure. I know a lot of farmers, and knowing how they grew up with parents that were farmers, and some really expected them to take over the family farm. Some said, I don't want you to have anything to do with it if this is not your passion. So what was it like for you growing up in that? And
Never, I was very, very close with my grandfather. I consider him one of my best friends. We were very close, spent a lot of time together.
Yeah.
And with my dad as well, but really with my grandfather a lot. But, neither one of them ever said, I think you should do this. This would be the best path for you to be successful. It's a great thing. I would ask questions.
Sure.
But no, I never was told, hey, this is the path you need to do because this is what our family does or anything like that. Never. I can never remember that conversation.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and I do know it happens in certain family businesses. You're kind of expected to go down that path, but no, I never really. It ended up that way.
Right.
But, yeah.
So was it like a slow process of many different decisions, or did a light bulb come up?
Like I said, I started right after I got out of school, and I actually was involved in 2 other small businesses while I was working my way up into the automotive industry. One was a rental business. It had to do with SIU rental furniture that I bought from. I had a partner. We bought it from individual. I was only like 2 or 3 years out of school. It was a great little successful business, actually. Made some good money with it. Helped me get my feet on the ground on some other stuff.
Yeah.
And then had another couple friends of mine that we had a small business here in Marion that had to do with the fitness industry, and we were actually trying to become distributors. We were of some nutritional products. The product itself never really launched or got off the ground as what we thought it would be. We thought, if this thing is a home run, we'll be a distributor for certain. And we worked it for a couple years. Didn't really make much money, didn't lose a lot of money or anything like that, but it was a good experience.
Yeah.
Did that simultaneously when I was still working full time. basically selling at that point.
Yeah.
You know, so didn't become an owner. You know, I was trying to think on the way up here. I think it was probably got into ownership in the automotive industry about 17 or 18 years ago.
Wow.
So this will be my
Okay.
30th year in, but didn't become it until about 18 years ago.
So really about half of your time spent in the automotive industry, you were a seller? Did you
Just
work
an employee.
So,
I mean,
okay.
obviously, yes. First 4 years, I was on the showroom floor selling. Then got into doing some of the finance and insurance stuff. Maybe backup sales management,
Okay.
and just kind of progressed and kept, going until really became general manager.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when did Toyota Marion start?
Marion Toyota has been, the Toyota franchise has been here since the early 70s, I believe.
Okay.
And it had a couple owners before.
Oh.
It was called like Leon Webb Toyota, I believe, and then a gentleman named Carl Beck owned it. And it's the franchise has been here probably since the early 70s.
Okay.
Of course, it was in a little bit. It started out in a little building over there where Marion Eye Center is now, like in front of Raven Tire. That little bitty. I mean, it's a nice building for them, but for a car dealership, it's pretty small.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when they, there was only a few models.
Yeah.
Yeah, Toyota wasn't the company globally they are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's they're a massive company.
And then you bought that how many years ago?
Bought into it. I think it's about 17 years
17,
now.
yeah.
I had a partner for a while, and completely bought them out 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you
So-
went from general manager to buying in and going with a partner, it sounds like, with that ownership, did it just feel like the next right step, or was there some kind of soul searching of like, okay, well, are we going to go all in and be invested, or what kind of thought processes were going through at that time to be an owner and be the business?
I think at that point, I was definitely all in, and that's what I wanted to do. I mean, I really had developed a passion for that industry, that business, and I just felt like there was a lot of opportunity to grow it even more, and it has substantially. At that point, I really feel like, I was all in for sure. I want to go down that path. It's an expensive industry to get into, that's for sure. So you're committed, you're all in if you get in that. There's a lot of dollars involved with any type of automotive.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So Jeff, what do you love about being a business owner?
The people.
Yeah.
And when I say the people, the customers and your team members. I mean, that's the greatest thing every day is the people.
Yeah.
It's something different every day in a good way. I mean, you get to know everyone. You get to. I'm sure there's some of those smaller businesses that are not as customer focused. They might be more just a one-off or one or two employees where they're maybe developing stuff, a product or whatever, but it's really not. You're not interacting with the public as much.
Yeah.
Ours is completely opposite of that. So I would say that's what I like.
Yeah.
I like the best.
We don't necessarily learn that in business school of how to relate with people.
I got my degree in business and learned a lot in college. Don't get me wrong, but there's nothing like the real world application.
Yeah.
I think I can't think of a whole lot in those textbooks that was. It was great, but I mean, I don't know exactly how much that applied. Once I got into it, really.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times college is more about the discipline of learning to go to class, study, meet people, live on your own, and find yourself and learn responsibility.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. How many employees do you have?
Well, let's see. What I have is kind of branched off into, or it's really kind of three things. There's Marion Toyota, there's Marion Subaru, and then there's Marion Collision Center. Now, Marion Collision Center is ran off the same financial statement as Marion Toyota, so we do share accounting and stuff like that, but it's a separate location. If you add up all three of the places here in Marion, it's probably about 120 employees.
Wow.
120, maybe 110, 115 full-time, and then another 10 or 15 part-time probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Toyota and the Collision are a lot bigger than the Subaru store.
Wow.
Subaru store does well, but it's not as big.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're talking about a little over 20 employees there, so the rest of them are all at the dealership and the collision center. Yeah,
That's a significant amount of employees, though.
It is.
That's a lot.
And that's when you said, what do you like? That's why I said the people. I mean, you can imagine the diversity of different people that you work around every day, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about this yesterday morning about really us as leaders are as good as the people that we can bring together. You know, we don't have to be the smartest person in the room. I can't say I am, but I can bring some people together.
I can definitely say I'm not a lot of times.
Yeah.
That's what it's really all about, is surrounding yourself with great people.
Yeah.
You know, there's just no doubt, especially when your organization's got that many employees, you have to have great people, you know.
Yeah.
And
So you found that in Marion?
Yes, absolutely. You know, it's, and we might talk about this later. What are the challenges and stuff?
Yeah.
That is one of the challenges in a small town.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Is, let's face it, the pool of people is smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That is probably the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
You know, great people are out there. Everybody's after those people to join the organization.
Yeah.
You know,
What have you found that is the most helpful in either recruiting or retaining those quality employees?
from my standpoint, what do I do to recruit those? I think building your culture and letting people, when you're recruiting, experience that and see that firsthand of what you're going to offer them once they do come on board. I think that's, you know, a lot of people think that it's all about the money all the time when you're trying to recruit people. And of course people want to make and earn what their skill set should bring them. But they want an opportunity to be able to grow, to improve their skill set.
Yeah.
And you have to provide them with that kind of thing. You can't just bring them on board and forget about them. You have to give them the tools to succeed. So I think you really have to get that across, you know, because like we were just saying there, it's hard to recruit in a small town because the pool's smaller. So you better have a plan to keep those people.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we're really fortunate. We have a very low turnover. And that's the key. That's the key. I mean, you're always going to have a little bit, but you see the organizations, not just my industry, any of them, the ones that have the lowest turnover are, of course, going to perform the highest.
Right.
Yep.
Just no doubt.
Yeah.
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 Can you see yourself doing this business in like a larger community, or is this really all about small town Midwest?
Are you asking, am I looking to go to a bigger?
No.
What do you mean by that?
Well, your experience is small town business.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you've become very successful at your business.
Okay.
Many people have maybe jumped at the opportunity to go someplace else and do it again in a much larger place.
Definitely have had that opportunity. I can think of a couple times in the last few years that opportunity came about. I was approached, and no, I don't think two things. I don't really have a desire to go to a bigger metro area. I think it's the same way you would run your business would probably be pretty close to the same, you know, the same strategy. But boy, there's a lot of challenges being in a large area like that versus a small community like this. I mean, a lot of challenges. Just putting a sign up, just getting permission to add on to something. There's a lot of challenges with that. And the other thing that goes along with that is hiring the right people.
Yeah.
And again, a bigger pool of people there, don't get me wrong, but sometimes they come and go really quick.
Yeah.
And people are quick to jump ship in a metro area.
Yeah.
I see it a lot of times in my industry. I talk to people in the automotive industry that I'm in at meetings that have metro stores, and I mean, the people are just it's that grass is always greener on the other side, and it's just continuous jump back and forth, and that's got to be frustrating.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, it sounds
because
like
you want to
yeah.
invest in your people, and then you're sitting there thinking, oh, I mean, are they going to be here longer than a year?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I could see where, especially in this industry, that you would find a lot more loyalty in a small town once you've shown them that you will nurture them as an employee, that they would be more loyal to you than, say, in a metropolitan area where there may be a lot more dealerships and that grass is always greener, somebody else trying to recruit them, and they're constantly moving to another place trying to get ahead. So I can see that where the loyalty would be a big factor.
It is, and that loyalty is two-way street. You have to be loyal to them, and you have to provide them, again, with all the tools necessary to succeed. I mean, that's the big thing that's something I'm really big on, is providing them with everything they need to succeed.
Yeah.
Well, you said people is one of your top resources of being successful. Is there another one that offers Marion or small town offers you to make you successful?
Well, I think doing business in a small community, in a small town, you get to know everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people. And if you're doing things right and doing things the right way, your reputation alone goes a long way in building your business. And I'm not so sure you can do that in a big city. I almost feel like you're just another number to them at that point in the city, and they don't know. And it's, again, that's a two-way street. I feel like some of these businesses in big areas they look at the customers as just another number coming through the door, and they don't look at that as a possible repeat customer or a customer for life, because there's such a large pool to pull from. They just they don't look at it that way.
Yeah.
So I think that's an advantage for us in a small town, definitely.
Yeah. What would you consider your favorite part about being a business owner in a small town, living in a small town? You've lived here all your life. What's
Seeing
your
people
favorite part?
succeed.
Yeah.
Seeing people succeed that work for me, but also seeing people succeed in all types of small businesses or whatever they do here. You know, I love watching businesses succeed, and you really kind of get to see that in a small town. I mean, because you're close to it, you're driving by it every day, you're hearing what people are doing. Again, I don't know that you see that in a big city. And I'm talking about all types of businesses, not just automotive, but I love to watch automotive businesses in this area succeed. I mean, Mike Absher, our mayor, I mean, he has built one heck of a business platform in the automotive industry, and I loved watching him do that. You know, I don't ever look at, I never thought of him as my competition. You know, if you take care of your customer, you take care of your people, there's plenty of business to go around.
Yeah.
You know, some people don't look at it that way that are in your same industry sometimes. It is hyper competitive, don't get me wrong, but it's, you know, some people have kind of a little bit of a mean spirit when it comes to that. I just don't look at it that way. I think there's plenty of business.
Yeah.
I think keeping that focus has been one of the many reasons you have been so successful, is that you're not worried about the competition and what they're doing. You're focused on you and cultivating a culture in your business that will keep your customers loyal, keep your employees loyal, and not feeling that competitive nature with other people. So
you can't control what they're doing, and there's going to be some of them that do stuff with what they do really well. So you just got to take care of your own business. Yeah.
Now, Jeff, you've invested yourself in this community in a variety of ways, but more recently, you've invested here in downtown Marion, on the square. Tell us what you're doing. Tell us why you're doing it and what your plans are.
Sure. Well, the biggest project going on right now is the Goodall building here, right out the window here. That is a complete renovation from the ground up, basically. I wanted to take the building all the way down to the core of it, the bones, and put it back together the correct way. I want it to stand another 121 years. That's how old it is right now.
It's 121?
Yes,
Wow.
built in 1900. And I have always wanted to do a project like that. I know that sounds crazy, but for years. A funny story is, if you go back again, I got out of college in 1991. I think 1994 or 5-ish. This building that we're sitting in right now was for sale.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty in bad shape. I don't think there was a tenant anywhere or anything, and I don't even recall who owned it at that time. And I wanted to buy it. My dad told me I was out of my mind at that time. You know, you don't have the money to do that. You don't have the money to buy it, let alone fix it. And we laugh about that now. So I've always wanted to do a project like that. Yeah. And I think really what tipped me over to do it was finally, it was really when Mike became mayor. I mean, I knew what his vision was, a downtown, knew what his, this town had been growing rapidly, obviously out west.
Yeah.
And we needed a good shot in the arm down here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, there was so much and things were crumbling, and I just loved his vision from the very beginning of what we needed to do here, and I wanted to be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I've kind of said that project there it's a pretty big undertaking. We uncover something every day, it seems like, definitely every week that we didn't know was there. Yet I knew that getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think I told you yesterday, maybe to me it's 50% an investment. Hopefully someday I'll get some of the money back out of it. But 50% of it's really philanthropic. I mean, I felt like it's one of the biggest buildings on the corners up here.
Yeah.
It needs to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it needs to continue to be there, and it needs to be full of life.
Yeah. What all has it been in the past? Do you know?
Everything. I've got wonderful pictures that the Williamson County Historical Society's let me go through and download and everything, and I've tried to get as much history. All kinds of things. The upstairs has been anything from, it was old apartments, almost like hotel style, to doctors and lawyers' offices in the 40s and 50s and 60s. Downstairs in the lower level were a couple restaurants for years. One of them was there 30 plus years, and another one, the Uptown Steakhouse, was there for 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
And then a lot of different retail on the main level
Yeah.
over the years. It's been a lot of different things. I mean, lots. I think we've taken off 4 or 5 layers of flooring. So,
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
You've been at it for several months now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're close to, it's going back together now. I think we're done taking it apart.
Yeah.
Putting it back together now.
That's awesome.
Can you share with us what your vision is?
Upstairs, 4 luxury 1-bedroom apartments. That's actually getting pretty close to it's framed up, and we're roughing in electrical, plumbing, and all that now. So that should be done first. The main level, real close to, I'm hoping we're going to have a bakery / deli there, working with Granny Puckett's that's in Heron. And
what all do they provide?
right now, Tammy does she's mainly a bakery, but it's literally ran out of a drive-through window. No storefront, and it's really been a dream of hers to have that storefront in a downtown old feeling, an old building. I think it's just going to be fantastic if we can get this thing all ironed out and put together, which I'm confident we are.
Yeah.
And then downstairs, I don't know yet. I'm still working on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the goal is to have all 3 levels just full of activity and life and stuff going on all the time.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited really about the residential up top. I've had a lot of inquiries. I hope some of these other buildings over here end up having a little bit of residential. I think we need a lot more of that around the square.
Yeah.
And I hope this is a little contagious,
Yeah.
Now,
is Granny Puckett's the ones that have the cinnamon
Yes.
rolls that are as big as a Frisbee?
Yes.
She's amazing.
Those are amazing.
What she makes, and 100% out of scratch, everything. I mean, I
Yeah.
think a lot of people already know her product. Her numbers are phenomenal. What she does out of a drive-through window, I think it's just she can go to a whole nother level. That's that thing in me. I want to see someone like her just
succeed.
Yeah, and fulfill her dream.
That's awesome.
Of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think it will.
My mouth is watering.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So as a successful business owner, what would you tell a new entrepreneur, someone that might want to move into Marion? What would you tell them about being successful? What would you tell them about what they need to know or what they need to do in order to get a great start?
Specifically to Marion, or just in general, somebody who's starting a business?
Yeah, specific to small town America.
Yeah, I would say get to know everyone in your community that you can. And that would be other business owners, that would be bankers, lawyers, accountants, people with the city developing things like what you're doing here. I mean, those resources that you can tap into in a small town, and I'm sure some of those are available, if not a lot of them, if not most of them, in a big. But I think you're going to get more of that one-on-one with people. And again, I don't think I'm unique in that there's a lot of business owners in a small town like Marion that want to see all these other businesses succeed as well.
Yeah.
They want to see, they want to help where they can.
Yeah.
So I would say get to know everyone you can.
Yeah. I think that's unique to us in Marion, Illinois. I'm hoping it does exist in other small towns across America. We think it does. But what we know is that we've got successful entrepreneurs here, but they're looking outside. They're not just looking inward of, again, how much money they can make. But they're caring about another person, maybe someone else who wants to be an entrepreneur, and how we can work together to make the community successful. I think that's unique.
Yeah, and that's where the point where I'm at right now, kind of in my career, is I'm still have a passion for what I do, but I really want to transfer as much of that knowledge as I can.
Yeah.
And you can apply a lot of what, even if I'm unique to in just the automotive industry for the most part, you can apply those same principles and things I've learned and things I've learned that don't do to people in other businesses. It really doesn't matter. And I mean, that's really a passion of mine now, is I want to share that.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Would your advice be the same for your younger self, as far as when you were first starting out and getting into the ownership and of the car dealership? Would you have any other advice for your younger self?
Things I did wrong, or just my advice would be, a couple things. Listen more than you talk. You can learn so much from people, and I like to talk. So that sounds funny coming from me, but what I mean by that is if you just sit back and listen to people, listen to your customers, listen to your employees, listen to other business people, listen to other people in the community, you can learn a lot. And don't ever think you have all the good ideas. You don't own all the good ideas. People have fantastic ideas that you can just listen and pull out of them, and ask them to tell you more. I would say that's definitely one key starting out. The second thing I would think would be forming relationships. Form as many relationships as you can when you're getting started in business. I can personally think of a lot of times I was able to go back on relationships I formed years before, not knowing that I was going to need something from that person as an advice or a resource, but it was there when I needed it.
Yeah.
And those are invaluable. Really, when you can go to somebody and ask them, hey, can you help me with this? And that can just be advice, opinion, or it could be a resource like a bank or a lending institution where you need capital or something. It could be a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But being able to get that from people and ask them their opinions on stuff is, it's invaluable, really.
Yeah. And we got to share yesterday about this space in particular, and it being a small business incubator, and how that ecosystem can be built, together. And you just described what our purpose and what we want to do here.
Yeah, your concept's spot on. That's what those people need that are starting out.
Yeah.
They need advice.
Yeah.
And it could be little things or just stuff that sparks their attention on anything, from the technical part of running their business to relationships to anything.
Yeah.
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 Well, we want to thank you. This is an enjoyable experience, Jeff. Really appreciate you coming in and sharing with us.
It's been great.
Was there anything
Yeah.
else you wanted to add?
Not that I know of. No.
No, this has been great, Jeff. I'm glad to know a little bit more about your business and your origin story, and definitely your passion for downtown and restoring the area. This has all been really great. Thank you.
No problem. Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We want to thank Jeff, Mayor of Marion Toyota, for joining us today. And we also want to thank our sponsors for making small town big business possible. We want to thank Fowler Heating and Cooling, the Arcadia Wealth Group, Black Diamond, Harley Davidson and RV, the Watermark Auto Group Foundation, Swinford Media Group, and also Union Street Arts. And of course, we want to thank Luke O'Neill for being our production manager.
And you can join the small town big business community by subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen and on your favorite platform. We are on Spotify, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Podbean, Apple, or you can see the video version on YouTube. Subscribing is free, and you won't have to miss upcoming episodes that are released every 2 weeks.
And if you want to know more about the Small Town Big Business podcast and maybe even be one of our future guests, or you want to know more about the Ethos Incubator small business share space here in Marion, Illinois, you can contact me, Russell Williams, at russell@watermarkethos.org. I am your host, Russell Williams.
And this is Allison Hassler. Thank you so much for listening.